Good morning, dreamers. How are you today? Oregon. I like this mug because it has a good mug feel. It's a cozy mug. I like what's in it too. How are you today? It's Monday. Welcome to Grandma's Table again. Bloop, bloop. Grandma's Table is a wonderful place to be. It's a great place to start and end the day. Having lentil waffles, just with some good old Canadian maple syrup today. But yeah, if you ever want the recipe, you just go ahead and ask, and I'll give it to you. Mm-hmm. Not a lot going on in my brain today. I'm kind of sleepy still, but that's okay. That is okay. So I don't know if I've mentioned several times, um, but if you're not caught up on like years of me droning on and on and on, which you do not need to be caught up in any way, shape, or form. You may have heard me mention, but if you have, just be patient. If you haven't, I will mention again. Jonathan Puddle is a pastor, author, podcaster um, in the Guelph, Ontario area. Jonathan Puddle has some remarkable work that he has done. Um, and honestly, I would say that God has done through him, to use um, churchy language, but it's work that has to do with a theory that already is out there in psychological therapy, and it's internal family systems. And the concept is that we all have different hats to wear. That's the old phrase, right? Wearing many hats. In other words, we show up in different ways to different scenarios. So I will show up as mom when it is time to get out the door. Lights are on, alarms are going off, you got homework, get it in your pack, get your shoes, get your teeth brushed, mom. When it's time to play, I show up as Mare, right? When it's time to be fun and social and bubbly and da 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 da, I show up as Mare. When it's time to survive, I show up as Marilyn. And I get things done, and I put on a stiff upper lip. I try really hard not to cry, and I just go, go, go. So when depression comes, my mom will say, "How are you doing?" And I'm like, I don't know. And she knows exactly what's happening because that's Marilyn talking to her. And she knows that the depression is like hovering, it's ready to pounce because I'm in survival mode. And whatever mode we are in, whatever identity is at play, um, and whatever um, face, hat, whatever persona I'm using, um, there's a key persona that is the real me, the way I was born, the innate created being of God that hasn't had to learn these faces. And that part I call faith. And so you can learn about these in many, many texts. The one that was life changing for me was John Puddle's You Are Jonathan Puddle's You Are Enough. And it's really worth going to look because it is uh, divine, God centered in understanding this. Because if we're created in the image of God and He's a multifaceted being, then of course we're going to be multifaceted beings. And it's just so eye-opening, like, of course, that makes sense. Of course, I understand the Trinity a whole lot better. One being, three persons. Oh! So I have these faceted, these beings, or I am the being, but I have these personas, persons within me. And I was really struggling last week. I didn't know what to do because it was like I was feeling feelings, but it's a way to process your emotions because which emotion is feeling this? When I am feeling unseen, non-valued, overlooked, that's mom feeling. That is mom feeling right there. When I'm feeling overwhelmed and I cannot breathe, and that's Marilyn, the amygdala, the protector, like I need to stop. You can hear the stutter that comes out when I'm talking about her. When it's time to greet people on Sunday morning, Mare comes out and she wants to play and she wants to hug and she wants to just flit from person to person and say hello. And it's interesting because my friends see Mare and they think Mare is the only part of me, and they're like, oh yeah. Yesterday one of them was so wonderful. The way she put it was, um, it's okay, you need to charge your social batteries. And I'm like, I'm exhausted. What do you mean charge my batteries? I go home, I want to have a nap. I go home, I want to go for a walk all by myself and just let the world fade away. Because that's faith. That's the internal me. Oh, I have a social part of me, but the real me that needs to meditate and pray and rest and just be is also there. She just isn't visible to very many people. You have to be really close. And I don't mean friend close as far as we're close friends, because you'll see all kinds of parts of me, but I mean physically with me all the time to see that come out. But so I had these big emotions. I didn't know who was talking, and I was meditating and praying and talking to God about which part of me is talking. And he just said, slow down, stop and listen. And it was an anger of fear that was talking, anger representing fear. Because I'm going to be going for some medical tests. Not a big deal. Everything's manageable. Even if the worst case scenario comes to be, it's manageable. It's not a big deal. But still, it was a big deal to me because I'm the caregiver. I'm the mom that takes care of Jimmy, gets him to the doctor, and gets Hannah to work, and gets Carl to whatever he needs, right? Like picks up his meds, and there's so many health things going on, regular, manageable, everyday health things, that I was like, there's just no space in my schedule for me and my health things. So I'm going to just not be happy with this, and some fear about what it would mean. And so I just had these big feelings, but I didn't know who it was. And I finally realized I was angry because I had been working so hard on my own health on behalf of my family, saying I want our eating habits to be better. And so I'm working so hard on those that now my body's rebelling. What are you talking about? I worked my butt off. And now my body has the audacity to rebel, and it's something that is easily manageable with food, but I've been working so hard with my food, and now I was angry about that. And I was like, why is my body rebelling? And I'm sitting in quiet prayer. Why is my body rebelling? And it's like I heard this tiny little voice within me say, I'm not rebelling. I'm communicating because you're finally listening. And I went, God, who is that? And he says, it's a new person. Somebody who's been within me the whole time. It's my body. I nicknamed her Rosie because I name everything. You don't have to. I'm not going insane, I promise. It's called Internal Family Systems. Research it. But look, get John Puddle's book, You Are Enough. Jonathan Puddle book, You Are Enough. But yeah, I met a new persona who's finally talking to the person because I'm listening. Is there a part of yourself that you need to listen to? Is there a part of yourself that's got big, big emotions and you don't know how to listen to them because you haven't tapped into who it is that you're supposed to be listening to. Is it the organized you, the administrator? Is it maybe your administrator is overwhelmed because you're not listening and it's trying to keep you organized and you don't know how because you have some sort of ADHD brain that just, and your administrator is what's causing you depression. You need to stop. You need to slow down because I need you to listen to me. And so then you get depressed and then you sleep. And it's like, ugh, you weren't supposed to go to sleep. You're supposed to listen to me. So you wake up and the cycle goes again and again and again. And so maybe it's your protector. Maybe there's some really big trauma happening right now, and your protector's like, we are in fight mode. We are shutting down. We are just going to, or maybe you're flight, you're escaping it. Maybe you're fawning over whoever is hurting you or whatever is hurting you. I don't know. I'm not the therapist. I'm not the professional by any means. I'm just passing on things that I've learned about my personal being. And it's a really great way to process the big stuff that happens in life. Maybe it is your body that you need to listen to and say, is there something I need to take you to the doctor for? Because something's not quite right. And I just brush it off going, I always have a headache on blah, blah, blah. I always feel blah, blah, blah. It's a difference between life and life abundant. And Jesus came that we may have life abundant. You don't have to dig hugely deep the way a poet might. But just listen to your system and your body and your mind today. Go slow enough. That's something COVID taught us, was slow down. And are we so busy and so packed up our schedules all over again that we didn't learn? Slow down. Spend some time listening to you because you are worth listening to. You are so valuable. Created in the image of the divine. You are loved. If you were at grandma's table right now, you would be hugged. You are so precious. Take the time needed to recognize you're here and the space you take up is your space on purpose. God put you here for a reason. Scripture says all of this is a still small voice, and it is empowered by the Spirit of God, the Spirit of the divine. She's in you. And she wants you to realize how special, unique, and precious and beloved you are. You are loved. Don't you forget it. Go. Use that for the kingdom today. Go be amazing. Kids and I get texts from Carl throughout the week, and without a doubt, he always leaves, keep being awesome. So I give that one to you today. Keep being awesome. Know that I love you. Bye.